was an act of desperation that started my journey, and it is the best part of my life. And we are out here taking this on its maiden voyage. I have a bus building company. I just built this bus and we just finished it maybe a week or two ago, and we're taking it out on the road, seeing what we think about it. Hello everyone, my name is Isaac and this is my 2002 Ford 7.3 Power Stroke 4-window short bus, and we're stoked to show it to you. Okay, welcome to the kitchen section of the bus. Now there's a lot going on over here. One of the things that I want to talk about is the countertop. This is only inch countertop. I've used 1.5 inches before, and like just losing that 1/2 inch makes this so much lighter. This is the sink, and it's like an 18 by 18. And one thing that I really like about it is, since this is a small space, having this little insert right here makes this part of your counter, so it's kind of dual purpose. And then the same thing goes for this little 2-burner right here. Like, it's got this glass top. When I need to use it, I can just turn it on, use the thing, and then when I want to use the counter, if I didn't have any of this, like, this is still counter, which is really cool. I think having dual purpose and like multi-function things is kind of a big deal in a build. This bus just does have a manual foot pump system. That's kind of nice about having something simple in a build. It's just less things to go wrong. There's less fittings, there's less cuts in the pipe. It's just a foot pump with a hose that goes into a 6-gallon water tank, and then I have another 6-gallon water tank right next to it. This is just a little set power. I think it's like an AJ60. Don't quote me on the exact model, but it's a 60-quart, 12-volt fridge. And it's kind of dual zone, I guess. And it's in this little box thing that I made on 500-pound sliders that lock. So when you push it in, like, that's locked. That's not coming out no matter what. And I did set this little tray up on casters just to help support the weight. Even though it probably doesn't need it, it probably doesn't hurt either, if that makes sense. Over here, we have the switches for all the lighting. I have 4 LED track lights in the roof. I have an LED track light underneath the bed in the storage area. And then I've got this light right here. I just call it like decorative lighting. It's underneath the bench seat and it's underneath the counter. I just think it gives it a really cool, I don't know, like, the space that you live in and that you work in every day, it can greatly affect your mood. And I think that little bit of lighting, I kind of really like it. Now, each one of these switches is on off and it's dim. So you just hold it and it'll dim. So you can really set the tone in the light to anything that you want in here. And the cool thing about the LED track lights is you can cut them to any length you want and put them anywhere you want, which is really cool. Instead of buying like a light that's a specific dimension or size and you can only fit it where you can fit it. Like, you could make this that small if you wanted to, and it's not that expensive. You just buy these tracks, you cut the track to the size you want, you cut the LED strip light to whatever you want, and you stick it in the track, put it up there, put power to it, that's it, easy breezy. I have 12-volt USB right here, completely separate than my 110 system, and I can just turn it on or off right on the counter. So I can charge phones, charge cameras, put it in there, forget about it. And it also does have a voltage meter right here too, so I can really keep track of my battery from multiple places, just as like a constant reminder. I got all kinds of drawers here, and it's soft close. So this is another little building hack for a lot of y'all. As you notice, I know everyone talks about the locking systems on their drawers in their cabinets, right? I don't have any of that, and none of this comes out. A soft close will hold it in place until you release it. So the soft close sliders cost a little bit more, but now I don't have any locking systems on any of these, and none of these have ever come out. Now, I really like open shelves. I've had closed cabinets like this in the back, and sometimes like you just stuff a bunch of stuff in something like this. Like, there's a bunch of stuff stuffed up here. But like I've lost things or bought things 2 to 3 times because I just don't see it. So I really like having this open shelf in the kitchen area so I can be like, oh, I have granola. I don't gotta think about it. Oh, I got peanut butter. I don't gotta, like things don't get lost because I can see it, if that makes sense. So there's like a debate on whether people like these or not. I really like these, especially in the kitchen area. Things just don't get lost and I'm not buying things a bunch of times. And you know, nothing comes out of here. And I just have these sitting on these L brackets from Home Depot. I think this is like 8-inch depth and they're just self-tapped into the metal of the bus. They're sturdy. They're not going nowhere. Nothing's fell out. I never really looked at buses at first. I looked at like van life on Instagram, you know, while I was living in a normal place, working a normal job. And it was one of those things that I never thought I would actually do. It was just kind of something I thought was interesting on the internet. And then one day my housing situation was just disintegrating faster than I anticipated, like very quickly. Like I was losing my housing in like 2 weeks or something like that. I don't know, something happened mentally where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a van. I'm gonna take my down payment money, I'm gonna build a van. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I did that. I bought a van. So I started exploring more. I started trying to find places that I've never been to before. The van kind of changed my life a little bit. I was like, because it's like, why am I working? I'm working 5 days a week, and then I'm playing for 2. I could be out in nature or exploring 24/7, and it was like, I felt like I was doing what felt right. I was living instead of working to live, if that makes sense. My van was a cargo van, you couldn't stand in it. I wanted to be able to stand, non-negotiable. Somebody told me about buses. Now, at this time, buses were not popular. I was laying in my bed in the Planet Fitness parking lot, and I messaged this woman. She had this 7.3 Power Stroke bus, and I messaged her, I wanted to check it out. She was like, well, it just sold, but if you want to come over and like step into it and like feel the space, I understand. And I was like, actually, I would love to do that. And as soon as I walked in, immediately everything changed. All the reasons why I didn't want a bus became the reasons I wanted a bus. And I changed my mission from that day forward. I was getting a bus. One popped up. It was my original bus, Sculiana. I don't know, it changed everything. It changed the way I looked at life. It changed the way I approached things. It gave me this vehicle, this house I could drive around and pursue business things I wanted to try because my bills are less. I was inspired constantly because I'm always out exploring some new area, taking photos, making videos. Like, it was an act of desperation that started my journey, and it is the best part of my life and what happened since. So I think it was a stepping stone in my thing, but I love it and I'll never give it up. Welcome to the daybed slash couch slash lounging slash you're gonna be here the most out of probably every part of this bus build area. This will fold up, and this is all full of storage. So I've got camera bags and who knows what else just kind of stuffed underneath this couch. It's easy to get to. I also do have the diesel heater hooked up here, and the actual furnace is right behind here, and it just vents out here. The control is here, and then I built a little shelf over the diesel heater furnace again so that I could use the space. Also, I did do a toe kick. It's about 3 inches in, 3 inches down, and I put some decorative lighting in there. I will be honest with you, I didn't install that toe kick to be a toe kick. I installed that toe kick to put that light in there and make it look fancy. Now, as you come over here, we do have my Lagoon table, which this is the first time I have ever used one of these Lagoon table mount systems. after installing one and using it, it's just engineered so well and built so well, I can justify how much they cost. We got a nice workspace here, and I do have a 110 outlet right here and another 12 volt so I can keep the laptop charged and charge anything else I need to. Above the couch, we have more of that open shelving. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do up there. I almost didn't do anything, but because I don't really like things above my head when I'm sitting. I don't know if that's just me or not. But with just a little 8-inch open shelf, it hasn't ever gotten in the way. I haven't hit my head sitting up or sitting down, and it's enough little space up there to where I mean, obviously it's full. I figure if you have the storage, you're always stuffing stuff in it. This is the bed. Now there's some special features about this bed that I want to get into. I ended up finding this size called a 3/4. It's actually an RV size mattress, and it's 48 by 75. So it's just a little bit skinnier, and it's the same length as a normal full size mattress. But that gave me that extra 4 inches back to the day bed and the rest of the build, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it really kind of is. I was a little worried about sleeping here with 2 people, like I would feel that difference. I can't tell the difference at all. So for vans and buses, I really like it, and I think this is something that I didn't even know about until recently that I think is kind of a game changer for builds. And then in the bed area too, I have, I guess these are kind of the closets. These are overhead closed cabinets this time. Now this, and they're on struts, so they stay open. And I don't have much clothes, you know, I don't need that much. And then I've got a couple laptops. I got another camera stuck up in there, and there's a drone here. But I mean, this is plenty. Between the hanging storage up front and then this, like, that's all I need. And of course that leaves it open, boom. And that's another thing I like, is having the open design. The biggest thing I would tell anybody who's looking to get into this lifestyle, no matter what shape or form it is focus on the experience. Like, it's really easy to get caught up comparing ourselves on builds, like making the fanciest build, having the most electric, like having the best or being better. And it all comes down to comparing ourselves to something when that really doesn't matter. Like, the whole point behind all of this is to just get out and live. Do what you can. Like, if your budget is small, build what you can with what you have. Like, don't try and make it perfect. Just try and just do the best you can, make it livable, and focus on the experience and the life you're building more than building an Instagram picture, if that makes sense. I see a lot of people get so caught up on that, they're losing track of why they want to do it in the first place. Like, building this thing isn't to go out and take an Instagram photo, it's to get out into nature and experience. Like, this is a vehicle still. It's a vehicle for our life, and it's a vehicle to get somewhere. Like, that's my advice. Don't focus on perfection, focus on living and the experience. Let's talk about the ceiling. This is my favorite thing of the bus. Now, I know a lot of y'all possibly, I know I do it. I'm scrolling Instagram, I'm on YouTube, and I'm like just looking at different ideas, trying to get, you know, inspiration for my build. And I was between 2 types of ceilings. I think they call this like a slatted ceiling, which is in like a lot of modern building design. And then more of a rustic design is just like a normal cedar planked ceiling, which is very, very common. I still love cedar, and I still love a cedar plank ceiling, but I was between the 2. And I decided that I was gonna go for this, just try something different. And I basically just used construction glue and just 2 screws to hang each board. I made a little spacer, put my spacer up, tack the board up, spacer up, blah, blah, blah. And I made the spacer big enough to put these LED track lights. There's, you know, as a photographer or videographer, like you'll hear this term like leading lines. It's just like leading your eyeballs places. And I really love the way that these slatted ceilings just lead your eyes through the entire build. And then when you stick the lights up there, it draws your attention to the lights too. It's just a really cool, I really, really love it. I don't know if you can tell. And then I like having a lot of light in my vehicles. I've had other things that I've built where I wasn't even thinking about light or even considered it. And it was like, it wasn't even something I thought about until I was in it for a while, and I just hated the light. I had some cheap like white light. It just felt so sterile, like a hospital. I didn't like it. So I knew in this build that I really wanted to make lighting a huge part of the design. And I think it just gives it such a cool vibe. And this is just common board. It's not that expensive. It was easy to cut. I just used like a chop saw, and it was easy to put up. And the LED track lights, we just use 3M tape, which honestly I'm not sure is a great move. I might take them down and put something else up to just help secure them a little bit better. But again, they're really easy to put up. You just cut the track to the length that you want. You cut the LED strip to the length that you want. And then I have the 2 wires, black and red, going through a hole in the back. And then all of the wires for these lights and the solar cables are dropping down through that little piece of corrugated, whatever it is, back down here to the electrical system underneath. And that's it for the ceiling. Welcome to the exterior / garage of the bus. One of the first things we did up here is I'm sure some of you have probably seen a schoolie before. They have the little flashers up there. And I decided I wanted to take those out. And this company called schoolie.com actually makes these little plates. So I took those lights out and capped the wires, and then I covered the big old hole with it's called like a flasher delete plate. And like, I just think it looks so much better. And the other thing it does is that's also a leak point for buses. So there's a lot of leak points, and the flashers is like one of the most notorious ones. So it does a few things. It makes it look cooler, eliminates a leak point. Paint is just an oil-based paint from Home Depot, Bare, easy breezy. You can roll them or spray them, doesn't matter really, but that's what the paint is. And this is Desert Trail. I was going for like kind of like military utility kind of style vibe with this build, and that's kind of the idea behind the paint choice. But inside, let's show you what's going on in the garage. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. That's kind of the beauty of having it raised like this and being closed off, is I don't got to make it look pretty. So I mean, I've got a Jackery suitcase panel in there. I have the diesel heater tank right here, so it's just easy to fill. I personally like having the diesel heater tank separate. A lot of people will tap their tanks. The reason I don't really like doing that is because I go to a lot of remote areas where I barely have enough to get in and get out. And I don't want to be using the heater all night and forget about it, and then I have less than I need to get out. Which you could still, you know, carry the extra tank, but I just like having it on a separate system personally. So diesel heater tanks right here, extra diesel over there. I got a little propane fire pit for photo shoots, and then we've got regular wood if we end up somewhere that's got, you know, a campfire ring. And then also one of the things I really, really like in my past builds, I've always wished there was light under the bed. Because like I could be getting in here at night, getting something out, and like having that little LED strip in there, it's kind of nice. So, and that's lit up right now, and you can just see what's in here. It's easy to turn on and off. Camping chairs, Jackery, dirty clothes. I mean, just all kinds of stuff just thrown in there, and there's plenty more space to stuff stuff. And then on that side over there, I've got the entire electrical system. I have 200 watts of solar on the roof. I have a 50 amp DC to DC / MPPT charge controller, and it's all in one unit. I have a 200 amp hour lithium battery bank for storage. I have a 1,000 watt inverter because I don't really have anything that takes more than 1,000 watts. A lot of people like 2,000, but build your bus for you, you know. And then I just have my little 12-volt brick over here, and then everything could be killed on some kill switches back there. So the electrical system, it's like small but mighty, I like to say. And I mean, it's plenty. Like, I'm charging cameras, I've got a 12-volt fridge on 24/7, and I've got lights on all the time. I have never ran out of power. And we're talking like my girlfriend and I are using laptops 24/7. So sure, having more battery storage would be nice, but also I want to have all this storage here to stuff other things. So that's something to kind of think about in your own build. I'm just gonna say this right now. One of the biggest mistakes I see people building vans is just using a piece of plywood for their bed. There's no place for the moisture to escape. It creates mold very fast. So I just used 1x4s to slat the bed, creates lots of airflow. Never had a problem with doing that. So if you put a piece of plywood on your bed frame and you ain't got out there in it yet, you might want to reconsider. The future for me is like, so this is a project bus, right? I have a business now. I build these and sell these, and I live in a bus in the front of my shop, typically. Now, the future for me is like my girlfriend Jaylena is pregnant, right? We're gonna have a baby girl, and so the same thing kind of happened how I got into bus life or van life or both of it. I was just on Instagram, and it was just something I thought was cool. And then one day I had the opportunity and I seized it. Like, the same thing is kind of happening now. I've been doing this bus life thing for years. I don't know how long now. And I love it. It's something I'll never give up. I'll always have a bus, and I'll always travel and experience and explore forever. But the one thing that's kind of been on my mind lately is like, I've been looking at A-frame cabins and like container homes, and like, I really want to try it. I know it's harder, like, you know, building a whole like real house, like on a foundation, versus throwing some plywood in like a van. Like, it's a whole different bracket. And I'm intrigued by it, and I'm inspired by it, and I want to start getting into building tiny homes and cabins. And that's going to be the evolution. I have a 2-year goal. I want to buy property by the end of this year, and I want to build some kind of tiny home within 2 years. So that's another thing I like to do is goal set, because and then instead of going through life like not knowing what I want to do from one moment to the next, I have this goal on the horizon, and then all the decisions that I make every single day need to take me closer to that goal and not farther away. So within 2 years, I want to have built my first tiny home, and I guess it's not a want, it's something I'm gonna do. So that's what the future holds. All right, my name is Isaac, and this is my 4-window 7.3 Power Stroke diesel short bus build. Thank you so much for watching this tour. I appreciate it if you got this far. I got love and respect. Here's a virtual high five for you. And Brian behind the camera, thank you so much for making this happen. Tiny Home Tours, I appreciate you guys inviting me onto your channel. I do have social media, so you can find me on YouTube. I'm very active on YouTube at A Buslife Story. I have an Instagram, A Buslife Story, and my girlfriend, she also has a channel called Leave Her Wild. And hopefully we'll see you on one of our platforms if you want to follow along on this journey that I'm on here. So thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in something, hopefully. Peace out, bye.